Okay.
How about you, sir? How about you?
Yes, definitely.
How about me?
Very
Okay.
small amount. Okay, but this is sufficient.
Bus. Oh, okay.
So, can I sit over here at all this sofa?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. So, I have to record some intro of this.
What do you want?
Intro for that
Okay,
interview.
Okay.
Don't do it here. We'll do it anywhere else. Please understand.
नहीं, इसके ओपनिंग है ना, अभी हम यहाँ हैं, बात करेंगे उनसे. वो है. अच्छा.
What is missing?
Oh no, I want to add some intro about you. That we are here and we wish to conduct an interview with you.
Okay. This is not enough?
Here was also sufficient space.
ऑलरेडी कह चुके हैं, क्या वो इनफ नहीं था क्या? आप समझें इनकी चीज को.
नहीं, अपने आप रिकॉर्ड करेंगे.
ये अपने
आप करेंगे भाई.
इसमें आपको नहीं बात करेंगे.
अरे यहाँ बैठ के करेंगे ना. यहाँ बैठ के तो करेंगे.
दोस्तों, इस वक्त हम दुबई में हैं और एक तरह से कहें तो दुबई के साहित्यिक मरकज़ में हैं. साहिब गानिम जी आप हैं और आपको ऐसा कौन व्यक्ति है जो अदब की दुनिया में नहीं जानता? पूरा का पूरा अरब जगत हो या फिर हिंदुस्तान के अरब के साथ जुड़े हुए जितने भी लोग हैं, आपको टैगोर पीस प्राइज़ मिला है. आप हिंदुस्तान से बहुत लंबे अरसे से जुड़े रहे हैं और इसके अलावा कितनी ही भाषाओं का आपने अरबी से ट्रांसलेशन किया है या फिर अरबी में ट्रांसलेशन किया है. तो आज आपके पास हम रहे श्री के व्यास जी, जो यहाँ पर रहते हैं, लगातार अपनी जो गतिविधियाँ हैं पोइट्रिक हर्ट्स के माध्यम से करते हैं, तो उनके माध्यम से आज यहाँ पर आना हुआ. तो पूरे साहित्यिक अरब जगत के साथ और उसमें कहाँ भारत बैठता है, उन सब बातों के बारे में हमें जानकारी और मालूमात हाथ लगी हैं. तो आइए इन मालूमात को, इन जानकारियों को तो आप तक भी हम पहुंचाते हैं और बढ़ चलते हैं एक अपूर्व साहित्यिक यात्रा पर. हो गया. थैंक यू.
If you want to take some copies of
community has been mainly through poetry and through, of course, then SGI approached me and I became friends with Rakesh and with Dr. Akash, and we came up together with the idea of the poetic heart. And we started in 2011, we agreed about it. In 2012, we started it, and I still am amazed at how it is still going from strength to strength and beauty to beauty, and all due to the diligence of the Poetic Heart team. They are all very well disciplined people, and you know, we some of the Muslims are by nature they have to be disciplined because we have to pray 5 times a day. We have to keep so many things, and that gives you a lot of discipline. And I am amazed at the discipline of and the good behavior and wonderfulness of SGI team. That's why I continue to be friends, very closer and closer friends, and I am appreciate their
Ghanim sir, in many parts of the world, poetry is supposed to be a political struggle type something.
Political
Political poetry, and that is called progressive poetry, that is called many other type of names. But poetic heart is committed to only humanity, friendship, peace, and this is very committed agenda.
Yeah, this is a very good question.
Yes.
Very good question. You know, not only with Poetic Heart, I have got a WhatsApp group, which is the first group in the world to produce books. We have already produced 14 books. One of them is 2 fat volumes, there. And one thing in this group, I have 4 ex-ministers of culture from different countries in the Arab world, members with me. From Algeria, this man, he was in fact nominated for to be the president. And one from Syria, he was very much involved in the negotiations before Assad ran away. He was trying to get the settlement, and he's still with me. And one minister from UAE, now he's also minister and also head of the UAE University, and one from Sudan. These are ministers, but I have also diplomats but mostly they are poets, and they are from different political directions. So when we started this Poetic Heart, this group, which is a WhatsApp group, we agreed on one thing. I said, please don't discuss politics, because you will fight and the project will fail. Let us concentrate on culture, poetry, education, whatever, subjects. We kept it only for the arts and culture and things like that. We don't do what you call it health, because there is a lot of health WhatsApps are interesting. But we said, okay, we'll not discuss that. Don't talk about this food is good, this bad food. But we avoid anything which is controversial. We have sects even in the Islam. We have Shia, we have Sunni, we don't discuss these controversial or any subject that will cause a big friction. So let us keep it like that. Huh? I know it is difficult. All of them have their political ideas, but even some of them ministers, as I told you, but we avoided politics. And the same thing, we did it with Poetic Heart. The two, and that's why because we avoid that. And also this country here, UAE, is a moderate country. They don't like to have, they have more than 200 nationalities. Each nationality the Pakistani and the Indian may have differences, this and that may have. So the best thing is to keep them, we are here friends. We are here only to be polite to each other, to be love or be at least polite, but not have political differences. Otherwise, UAE would not have succeeded, and my WhatsApp group wouldn't have succeeded. From the beginning, when there were some people who tried to attempt to write politics, and one man withdrew. He said, "Oh no, you are saying something bad about my country." He left. Then I brought him back. He came back, but we told them, please, we are serious. We don't want to have any political problems. But as a person, I write political poetry, which is sensible, because this country here doesn't tolerate extremism, doesn't tolerate and I'm well known, so you have to be know what you are saying, sensible, and even when I recited yesterday, I recited a poem about UAE, a poem about Sheikh Sultan. This is semi-political in a way, because I'm talking about political people. But it is a positive kind of poetry, not a negative kind of poetry. If you want to do it on, but when I write and publish, I write what I say, but I take the responsibility. First, if it is very negative, they will not publish it. If they think it is negative, they will not publish it. But luckily, I have nearly all my life, I have got everything I sent, they publish it. Not here only, in many countries. I publish in Egypt, I publish in Saudi Arabia, I publish in Kuwait, I publish sometimes in also foreign countries, but sometimes they write to me. When the corona was here, from America they wrote to me. They want me they put a book about corona and ask me to participate a poem, and I did, and it was published and sent to me. So, but politics, yeah, you know, I am a moderate person, and therefore, alhamdulillah, no problems. But I have my political ideas. In India, you have the parties. Here we don't have parties. There's some communist party and this party and that party. They tend to be like that, you know. But it won't work if you have that kind of thing in poetic art. Is building bridges.
Yes.
Hmm.
You have told this, but the whole world is, except your UAE, is motivated by politics only. Many have bloodshed, many have conflicts, many have this. How poetry can help the world to establish peace among those?
You see, for example, the poem I read yesterday about giving and giving and giving.
Yes.
That was one kind of message that is positive, that will bring people, make people more happy, more, and if you read all my poetry, you can see my condemnation of evil politics and regimes and things like that. For example, I wrote a lot of poetry about Palestine during my life, in the wars, the annexations, and this. But that was acceptable at that time. Nobody would object to any of that.
But which is the point where poetry fails to affect the minds which transforms the world by political agenda? How we can change their minds with this poetry, because they don't study poetry, don't listen poetry, they don't talk of poetry. How we can motivate?
Now I will ask you a question. You are a poet.
Yes.
And you have written a lot of ghazal and love poems.
Yes.
And you must have written also politics and other things. So, and in India you have full freedom of speech.
Yes.
At least to talk, not
100%.
So what do? Are you a party man? Are you communist? Are you something like that?
No. I am not communist, not any party.
You are moderate.
Yes.
Not left, not right.
No.
Yes. And we have also religions, the different types of shades. I think what we need to do is to talk justice, talk love. I'm always talking about the importance of justice, because if there is justice, nobody would object. Yeah, everybody will have, and freedom, as you said, freedom of speech and so on. These are all great values of humanity. Humanitarian giving and giving and giving, that is important.
Yes.
So it was really great to be here with you. And not through your words, but your appearance, your blessings, your way to talk, to reply. So it is all wonderful and never to be forgotten by all of us. So we are extremely thankful to you.
Thank you very much. I am grateful to you to take, to give me the chance to converse with you and to build bridges with you. and because through you, you will build bridges in your words you write in the newspapers. So we are all, in this world, only temporary. We don't last long. But during this period, you should do the maximum of good you can. That's all. This is,
We would like that more and more of your original poems, translations come, and particularly pertaining to India, we would like to that your writings may forever coming.
India, I have actually not written so many poems, but I have written a poem. The first one was Taj Mahal. When I was visited it when I was at Roorkee, I went with my wife. I was in my honey year. A few months maybe I was already married. And it was so wonderful to go with my wife there and see the beauty. And I was flabbergasted by the beauty of Taj Mahal. It's I think the most beautiful building, monument you can see in the world. And then I wrote a poem because in Kerala, I wrote a poem about Tagore. And these are poems, my father wrote about also India. He wrote a poem about, he says, after he saw the film, Gandhi, the Hollywood film, he wrote a nice poem, a long poem, which at one time it was published and in the Consulate General of UAE, they put it all 3-4 pages, and he wrote about. In fact, he wrote the first poem on the day of the independence of India and Pakistan. He wrote in 1947. He had a poem written, and he mentioned Pakistan, he mentioned India, and then he wrote this poem about Gandhi, and he wrote also a poem when he went to Kashmir. He called it on the Lake Dal. He was there. Lake Dal. What's it called?
Dal Lake.
Dal.
D-U-L.
D-U-L, Dal Lake. He wrote a poem about Dal Lake. And
the boats there float are called as shikaras.
Shikara. Actually, when I was in Roorkee, we had to go and visit all parts of India, the part of the course, because we visited the big dams, Bhakra Dam, this dam, Srinagar, this. We went to the different, all the big famous dams. And India had lots of dams, even in the 60s. When I went there, 1968, 69, I visited all the famous dams and canals in India as part of the requirements of our master degree. And I went and stayed in Shikara for 1 or 2 nights in Srinagar.
Okay, Srinagar.
Yeah. And the Shikara man was making for us the food, and I was there having a honeymoon with my wife.
Thank you.
And then again, I was invited by the Indian Consul General here for a 10-day visit of India at his expense. At the expense of the Indian government, the cultural department. And they took me in all parts of Kerala. It was only in Kerala, but they took me in all types of Kerala, places of Kerala, including river boat and backwaters and this and that. And it was a beautiful, yeah. And they put me in first class hotels, all super hotels, the ones that received the awards and things like that, in different parts of Kerala. Because they knew I did a lot of work on the poetry of Kerala.
Thank you so much.
Now we are very, very rich people with your poetry and your feelings. We feel we are richer than before.
After talking, yes. You know, when you communicate, you become richer. Sometimes somebody says just a few words, and you feel you became more enlightened.
You said poetry is your life, and that we are seeing in you. Poetry is your life.
Sorry? Yeah.
You told poetry is my life. And I
Poetry, yes.
Yes.
Poetry, I wrote once in a newspaper, poetry is the soul of a nation. If you want to understand, you write that. Poetry is the soul of a nation. Because if you want to understand, if you want to understand any people or any nation, really just read their great poems, the great poets of their nation. India has a lot of great poets, and in some countries they don't have many great poets. But I found that the English people, the British people, you can say, they have some great poetry. And now a book will come for me, translations of some of the best English poems. I selected 100 poets, starting with Queen Elizabeth I, next with Shakespeare, and then going all the poets up to today.
In India, how many big poets you have read?
I have translated many languages, 12 languages from India. I have poetry.
Whether you know about Kalidas, Sanskrit poet?
No.
Region poet?
No, I translated mostly contemporary poets, but in 19th century, 20th century poets. But
Kalidasa was 2000 years back.
yeah, no, that's very difficult to understand. Even British poetry, I didn't go beyond Shakespeare. Only just one poem by Queen Elizabeth I. The other poets are the contemporaries of Shakespeare and up. Before that, the poetry is difficult to deal with. The older language, the language is difficult. But you have got your philosophies and things like that.
Tulsidas is very, very popular poet in our country, who wrote Ramcharitmanas, Ramayana.
The Ramayana.
Tulsidas.
Yeah, Ramayana.
Surdas was a very, very big poet who was...
He's the writer of the Ramayana. And
Tulsidas.
huh?
Tulsidas is the writer of Ramcharitmanas. Ramayana is written by Valmiki.
ठीक है, okay. So, that's what it was.
So I'll take your.
Amelia. Amelia.
अच्छा एक मिनट बैठ.
Come.
एक मिनट. Just मैंने एक मिनट रुक रहे. एक मिनट.
Come, take photographs, please.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. अच्छा ठीक है.
एक फोटो हमारा ले गया, हमारा
आपका हो गया, आपका
चारों का होगा.
Don't sit down. This is my
Please let me do.
uncle.
नहीं बट चिंता न करें. प्लीज बैठिए.
ये आप रख लीजिए, नहीं भूल जाएंगे.
Then also, through this columns which I did first in Khaleej Times and then in Gulf News and other magazines after that, I became well known as a poet. And they, in 1996, they honored Kamala Suraya. And they called me and they honored me at the same time. We were honored together. So Kamala Suraya, I gave her my book, she gave me her book, and she went up to the podium and started saying great things about me. We have a very wonderful love poet with us here, and then she started reading the translation of one of my poems. It was I translated into English and published them in books and so on. That is how I became very much involved in translation, and I have translated about 35 books or something like that. Some to Arabic from different languages, including Indian, Malayalam, and other Indian languages, and the other way, translating Arabic poetry into English.
So, from India, what poetry did appeal you the most?
You know, when I was at school, I only had heard of 2 or 3 Indian poets: Tagore, Iqbal, Muhammad Iqbal, and Tagore, and Ghalib. I heard also the name. That's all. I never knew about any. Then when I got to know Kamala Suraya, other Indian poets came to me. One of them came to me and said, "This is sent to you by Sachidanandan." Sachidanandan, he's a famous Indian poet. He says his poetry is like that. And all the Indian poets in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, came to visit me one by one. So sometimes they came in groups. So this place has been visited by Indian poets maybe at least 20, 30 times. Some very famous poets. Sachidanandan has been here a couple of times to my house. Sachidanand, he was the head of the Sahitya Academy.
Okay.
The Indian.
I thought it was the Sachidananda was signed again. No.
No, but then I translated more than 70 Malayalam poets, and also many Indian poets. And then I was given the Tagore Peace Award, and I began to receive awards like I showed you. So, a friend of Gandhi, and my father, and my father-in-law, and this is also my brother. This was my teacher. This was my famous man who was my classmate, desk mate. He has written also 100 books like me, more than 100 books. And this is, I wrote this book about some of the great men of Aden. And I have here a book. I will just try to
in English.
Translated in English.
In English, I read to English. Otherwise, you will not. You want it in Arabic?
No. We are unfortunate that I understand.
Now we are making the interview about my father. We will not finish even after 1 week. But he is saying here a poem. When he was young, he was writing a love poem. He says, "You walk not on the ground, but on my heart. That is the music of footsteps, mingled with my soul and mind. Walk along as you wish, and have no pity for a lover, unable to endure more pain or more hope in nearness or in far. The Lord has created you not of flesh and blood like other mortals, but of rays of holiness in which my heart bathes. He has gathered you in colors of the most magnificent patterns, displaying beauty in all its perfection." So it goes on like that.
So, can you also please the Arabic version of this poem?
Okay, I will.
Original text.
I will. But at the end he says, "Pray they do not conjure up a fear of me, for I am but a poet who would not hurt a fly. But for my burning desire to behold your beauty, I would have hidden you like a secret in my heart. Then stopped my heart from throbbing, lest you may be disturbed. He said, لست أدري ما الذي تخشين مني، لست أدري وأنا الشاعر لا أرضى لمخلوق بضري، أنا لولا لوعتي صنتك في قلبي كسري، ومنعت القلب أن يخفق حتى لا تضري. This is a translation which I read. He say, it is, really poetry. He says, I would have, because I want to behold you, otherwise I would have hidden you in my heart. Then I will stop my heart to throb so that you will not be disturbed.
Yes. So we also find the same type of poetry in Persian too. Persian or Arabic style poetry.
Yes.
Classical poetry.
Yes.
This reflects the same trend. So further we would like to know that how did you proceed in your literary
I was living in the house of a poet, a great poet. And my mother's house, her father and his children were all educated, highly educated, all teachers and educated. And therefore me and my brothers and sisters were influenced by this environment. And my father used to bring us books when I was born, during the war. And at that time, books were not so much available. But he used to bring us magazines, he used to bring us books as children. So my elder brother, he is also a poet, older than me, and he was the head of the Society of Neurology in Canada. He is a big, famous neurologist, and he was a poet and a writer, and he was the head of the Writers Association in Canada. So, and he received the Martin Luther King Award. So he's also, so all my brothers are highly, intellectual, educated, and they are all professors. I'm not a professor because I was a professional engineer. But they were also professionals as doctors, medical doctors. All of them are doctors, even my sister. And they are all professors. But they also played, used to go to university and teach. My sister was the head of the educational department in the university. So this atmosphere, when you live with people who have ideals, they were all idealistic people, and you can say they are Renaissance people. So they instilled in us lofty ideas, and poetry was in the bookcases of my father. So I read all the famous poets when I was only a teenager. By that time, and me and my brother and my other two brothers, they all published at least one book of verse, each of them. But I published 27 books of verse. But my brothers, they published, my elder brother, I think, published 2 books, and the others published 1 book, because they are not poetry was for them not the same like me. For me, poetry was my life.
Yes, that is the word. Poetry is my life.
So, at what age your first compilation of the poems came out, and where it was launched? Please.
I knew that I was in love of poetry when I was about 8 to 9. I was in the second form in the school, and they used to, at that time, second primary, they teach you only nursery rhymes and things like that. Children's songs. But I was walking in the corridor one day of the school during the classes and heard the boys of the class above us, the third class. And they were reciting poetry of Abu Tammam and Antar and the famous poets of 1,000 years before. And I was mesmerized. I stayed there like that, listening to them outside the window. The window sill was short. The windows were long, high windows, but I could, I can see inside. They were not high as a little boy of 8 years old. And I was there, and mesmerized, I didn't move. And suddenly the teacher noticed me. This boy standing there, and he came out very angry. He said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm going to the toilet," or something like that. I said, "Well, I'll take you to the headmaster to punish you, Go back to your class." I said, "It's okay." I went away. But at that moment when I was about 8, I realized that I was crazy about poetry. And I used to, love it as, I loved several subjects. I was very good at mathematics and other subjects, but poetry was a love for me. So from that time, I used to read, me and Case, my elder brother, we used to sit and read the books, the diwans. My father had already a book which we nearly all learned by heart, because our father, and it was simple. And he influenced me. His style influenced me for many years. And he was my teacher. So when I started writing, and he discovered that, my mother discovered that I was writing, she snatched the poem and took it. And I said to her, she said, "I will show it to your father." I said, "Please don't, I was afraid, Please don't." And she said, "No." And she showed it to him. And he says, the boy is gifted. He needs to develop it. I mean, he can see that it is not mature, but it has the flame of poetry in it. And from that, then I went to the university, and I used to send him my attempts. I was at that time 19, 20. So I used to send him, and I was very eager waiting, because at that time there was no telephone. We used to wait for 1 week for the letter to go and 1 week to come back. And I used to send him I wrote these drafts, and he will tell me, this is good, this is not. And then he said, this has to be published. And of course I was in Scotland. I had had no connections, nothing. But he published for me the first poems when I was at school. So I was at university, and then I continued to publish, and then I began to publish later in all the magazines in the Arab world. So I published, at one time I published in more than 100 magazines and newspapers. And then I began to reduce it, to keep it only for the elite magazines and newspapers. And I began to become known.
Have you written prose also?
Yeah, I wrote books like these about my father, and I have, and I did 3 types. My poetry books, which are about 1/3 of my books, or less than 1/3, maybe 1/4 of my books, 27 Arabic and maybe 2 in English. But then I wrote prose articles, mostly related to poetry and literature and things like that. And also I wrote a lot of it about my father and my people I knew personally, teachers and things like these people, my friends, poets, and that my prose writing is generally related to poetry. Then I started in 1989 to publish every week a translated poem, because Khalij Times, they asked me, they saw my writing in the in-house magazine of Jabal Ali. I was in charge of that. Actually, when I was at school, they selected me as a member of the editorial board of the college magazine. I was at that time only in the third form, because of the secondary school. And I was, I think, the first one to be taken at that level. Others were taken at fourth form, fifth form, sixth form, but I was taken in third form. And later, when I was in the fifth form, I became the chief editor of the magazine, fifth form and sixth form. So it was published in Arabic and English, the magazine. So that is...
So from the earlier time, you have considered translation as a great service to connect the cultures, creating bridges for the cultures through translation.
This, came after I got my PhD. After I got towards the end of my PhD. That was in 1988. I joined Jabal Ali Free Zone as the chief engineer, the director of engineering, and there was an in-house magazine. So I was in charge of the cultural part. There are different other parts, commercial part, this and that, but I was in charge of the cultural part. So I used to translate poems in it. And the magazine was circulated, apparently, the newspapers like Khalij Times and Gulf News and in the country, they knew about them, about this. So they contacted me, said, we want you to write us a weekly column, translation of your poems. I said, okay. Then after 1 week, I told them, no, why didn't make it also for the UAE poets? I said, okay, go ahead. Then I translated a poem of one of my colleagues in the UAE poets. It was called the death of the newspaper boy, Midkal, the newspaper boy. He died whilst he was selling newspapers at the corners of the streets, and some crazy man hit him and killed him. And it was, the man wrote a poem, because this is a poor Indian boy who came to earn some money for his family, and yet he lost his life, and even his family, and it was a humanistic poem. So I translated it. And that was, I think, the second poem I translated. And then then I went one day to the pump station to fill petrol, and they used to give us a book, as I was a director of Jabal Ali. So I write my name, Shihab Ghanim, for the petrol filled in the tank. It was at the expense of the organization. And the pump station boy told me, sir, are you by any way a poet? I said, yes. How did you know? He said, I read your poem, and I was amazed, because this boy, he reads poetry, and he looks like a poor boy with, And the same thing happened to me when I went after 1 or 2 weeks to Dubal, the big aluminum smelter. I wanted to meet the director there, and I said, could I meet? He phoned. He said, "What's your name?" Because I want to. He wants to tell him, Shihab Ghanim is waiting for here. I told him, Shihab Ghanim. He said, "Are you the poet?" He was an Indian, guard in this. Then I realized that these Indian people are dangerous. They read poetry. And And I found that then that I was well known already within a few weeks of starting this column. So many stories I can tell, but it will take too much time.
Have some water.
Huh?
Please have some water. So it's a great privilege to be with you, and we are so much fortunate that have a chance to talk to you.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
As earlier I mentioned, it seems that we are in lab of the total Arabian culture here in this grand, huge house. So first question is, your work often reflected deep admiration for the India. You admire India for so many reasons. You have stayed there. Could you please share at the starting of our interview some memories, some experiences that you spent your time in India earlier days?
Yes. You know, I will speak first about my relationship with India. You know, I was born in Aden, and the men of the most famous, prominent people in Aden culturally at that time were my grandfather Luqman, my mother's father, and my father. And Luqman was a personal friend of Mahatma Gandhi. And so he came once to Aden for the round table discussions with the British for independence in the 30s, early 30s. And he and Luqman was there also translating his speech to the public, Arabic public. And he took my mother with him. My mother was at that time as a young girl, a teenager, maybe 12 years or so. And she went with him and she met Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi talked to her, you know, just as friendly, you know. She told me, you see, I know Gandhi personally, you don't know him. And anyway, that is, and Gandhi was the person who advised Luqman to study law and to start a newspaper to fight for freedom, because Aden was a British colony at that time. And that's what my grandfather did. He was considered to be the Renaissance man of Aden and South Yemen. So he started the first newspapers in Arabic, and then the first newspaper in English, and they continued until the independence time. And he also went to Delhi, to Bombay University, and he completed his bar. It's called advocate degree in 2 years only, because he was already well read in Sharia law and so many other things, you know. So he went there and he was a very fast person, very, very fast person. I was amazed by him. And he influenced me also. But of course my father was a bigger influence because he was a poet. Luqman was a writer, and he has a journalist and barrister and so on. So these two people have a lot of influence on me. And the son of my eldest son of my grandfather, my mother's brother, also he got his first degree from, I think, Aligarh University. But then he studied in Cairo and also in America, and got a higher degree, master from America. And my uncles are all graduates. The first graduates except my father was the first graduate in the whole of the peninsula. In the whole of the Arabian Peninsula, means all the GCC countries, the 6 GCC countries in Yemen, he was the number 1 to get a degree. And he was the number 1 in his group. He got, you can see he got a distinction, and so he was the top of the faculty of arts in his year. And he got the poetry prize also. So that is some of the connections. Of course, I studied in Aden College, and there were Indian friends with me in the college. So it was mainly Arabs, but there were some Indian people. That was the first effect. Then I studied in Roorkee University. I did a master's degree after I completed my engineering degrees. I did 2 engineering degrees, and I did 2 management diplomas from London and Birmingham. And before that, I got the Bachelor of Mechanical Engineer and Bachelor of Electrical Engineer from Scotland, Aberdeen University. Then I went to Roorkee to study water resources development. And Roorkee at that time was the number 1 civil engineering university in India. And then it became an IIT. And it was established by Nehru himself, and together with Dag Hammarskjöld. Dag Hammarskjöld was the first UN secretary, general secretary. And Nehru was very interested in developing the agriculture and also the industry. That was his policy. Nehru had that aim. So he developed the Water Resources Development Center, and it received also students from different parts of Far East, from Philippines, from different parts of Far East. And from also, I was the first Arab to study in that institute. So, and I got a first class water resources development master degree. So, and then I worked first in Aden as the deputy permanent secretary of public works and communications. Later, I moved to Lebanon. I was the chief engineer of an engineering company, and I worked as the plant manager in Dubai of an international company called Eternit, a Swiss company. And then I became the chief engineer of Jabal Ali Free Zone, the head of engineering of Jabal Ali Free Zone, which was the biggest free zone in the Middle East. And also I was chief engineer of the Dubai ports. And Jabal Ali port is considered to be the biggest man-made port in the world. Okay. So it was a big job. And at the end of my service, I worked for a couple of years as the CEO of the technology park. And then retired and worked mainly doing writing and poetry, writing books. I have written more than 100 books. So all these books there are my books, but I have more. This is only, I think, about 80 or 90 of them here.
We would like to know in a little bit detailed about your creative process. Earlier, in your earliest days, when did you start to write a poem? And then what aspects of the writing did you opt by time to time? So we would like to know about your poetic journey or journey as a writer. Please elaborate for us.
You see, the biggest two poets in Aden were my father, and he was the head of the Poetry Society and so many other things, maybe 7 or 8 things. He was very famous man, and the other top poet was also Ali Luqman, my uncle, my maternal uncle. But I also married his daughter, so he was also my father-in-law, and that's his certificate. He graduated in the early 40s as the first journalist, the first man to get a journalist degree in Aden in Yemen. But he was prolific poet also. Even I think he wrote more than my father, but all of them, both of them have big whole works. And the thing that makes them very exceptional in the Arab world is that both of them were not only poets, but they wrote poetry, drama, same like Shakespeare style, you know. Shakespeare was mainly a poet of drama. You know, he wrote Hamlet and Macbeth and this and that. And they were writing dramas. So they wrote each of them. Once they published, they wrote more, but they published 5 dramas in poetry. And this is very rare in the Arab world. See, I have never written poetry drama, and I don't know personally, except 1 or 2 people maybe who have tried to write poetry drama, because Arabic poetry is mainly love poetry and you know what you call it, not drama verse, but lyrical kind of verse.
Okay.
Lyrical kind of verse.
Would you please, if you could recollect any of the poem of your father's, what you have liked the most?
No, but I have translated 1 or 2 of his poems. I can read for you 1 poem.
So please tell us which book, please. Please read.
You will not be able to find it. You will not. I have to go and get it.
It's not far.
I think you can put it inside, not to.
Otherwise, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
How many? There's photographs also. When I was awarded, this is when I was awarded the Soka Gakkai Peace Award. This is in Chennai. This was the Gala Award. This was the Sahitya Academy. This was in Yemen.
साहित्य अकेडमी से भी इनको अवार्ड मिला.
This is by minister in Brazil. This is minister in Tunis. This is important award.
Very tasty.
Yeah, Samoha, please, sir.
No,
Please.
Very much tasty.
This is me with my father. My father, very famous man. You see that one which you photographed, that certificate there, is the first award of bachelor degree with the distinction and honors. Muhammad Ghanim.
Muhammad Ghanim.
Yeah, and he was so many things. I mean, his CV is much bigger than mine even. Then mine is longer with 100 books. He is also lots of books also, but he was a very famous poet, and he competed when he was even at university with the famous poets in the Arab world, and he won the award #1. And he got first class honors from AUB, which at that time was the #1 university in the Arab world. And he became Minister of Education in Aden. Then later he became the Dean of Higher Studies in Sana'a, and also the advisor of the University of Sana'a.
Very big personality.
Very big personality. Big intellectual, because he continued to teach for 6 years. So maybe 55 years, something like that. So all the big people and ministers in Yemen were his students. This is with Sami Yusuf.
Sami Yusuf,
Yeah.
yes.
He came also to our.
Very often he used to come. For
See,
poetic art.
yeah, each of these lines is a study about one of my books. So there are how many of them? Maybe 40 or 50 studies. This one is the same, but this is by Dr. Zubaydi. He was with us in the.
Yes, Zubaydi.
He compiled it. He didn't write it. He wrote only one study, but these are all studies by professors and things like that. And this is by one person, poet, but a full study. And this is a PhD from Kerala by an Indian writer. And this one also I told you about from the Moroccan professor. Where is my pen?
Pen there.
Oh. Amelia, let her bring a pen.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay. I'll just sign it for you. Your name?
Vikas.
You're Vikas.
Vikas Sharma.
Vikas Sharma.
V for victory, VIKAS.
Yeah, I know. You're also a poet?
Yes.
Ah,
My poetry collection is very soon going to be published.
then I have to have a copy.
It's really useful.
एक तो हमारा फोटो चाहिए.
Today is 9.
Today is 9th.
9-2.
See, this is half. You will get the poems. One or two of the poems I read is there in the. Yeah, the poem about the. I think the tree is here. You remember the poem I read about the tree? But I need a copy of these, otherwise I will ask Amelia to take photographs.
Yeah.
I'll tell her to take photographs because you may not.
I'll take photographs.
Okay.
विकास जी हम भी उसी के साथ एक फोटो खिंचा लेते हैं अपने रिकॉर्ड.
हाँ, अब आप आ जाएंगे. एंड प्लीज
किताब है हमारे पास.
आप आ जाए, मैं कर देता हूँ फोटो. इसमें भी कर देंगे. अच्छा.
We'll take after group photographs.
Yes.
Okay.
Your face is very photogenic.
I'm photogenic.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are seeing in camera.
Thank you.
हो गया.
जरा हम भी जरा बैठ जाएं.
एक बार ओके.
Thank you.
आप भी खींचेगा. I have got this already, but for photograph.
You know, you are signing with green pen.
Yes.
You know the other man who always signs with green pen is Sheikh Mohammed, that famous man, the ruler of Dubai. And he sent me his book.
One photo. This.
He sent me his book, signed to. He wrote many books also of poetry, but when he also wrote his biography, and he sent me a copy and saying to my brother Shihab Ghanim. Also, always he signs in green.
Mr. Jayed.
Sheikh, not Zaid.
Sheikh Mohammed.
Muhammad al-Maktoum. Muhammad bin Rashid. Muhammad bin Rashid al-Maktoum. He's the ruler of Dubai now. And he's a famous poet. Because his poetry has been translated.
Can we start?
Yes. So, can we start?
Yeah.
Can
Yeah, you can ask any question.
Any question? Okay. You take it.
You'll publish it only in Hindi, huh?
On India, we will try it in video form, and later on in the written form also. It would come out.
It will be translated in English also, and we will try to publish
translate
it in
it.
English,
Translate
so that you maybe
Translated in there are newspapers in India which publish in English, like Times of India.
Indian Express.
Yes, Hindustan Times.
The
The Hindu.
very prominent akhbar.
That's in Calcutta or no, everywhere.
Calcutta, Delhi, South, Madras.
They wrote when I got the Tagore Peace Award, but the Times of India, they covered when we translated the songs of.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have you had your lunch?
Yes. We are coming from lunch. From South Dubai.
No. Near the Al Maktoum airport, there is one person who bought a house. No.
Okay.
There is one person who bought the house.
And he invited you for lunch.
Yes. So she has invited me. She has invited a couple of Indian poets, and she had a lunch also.
Baba, why you call me? What do you want, Baba?
I want you to give me the books written about me. You know, one by Zubaydi, one by the fat books on the yes, there.
One by Subaidi.
All the books with my picture on them. And this one, yes.
Yeah.
This one too.
Yeah. And also Subaidi.
Zubaydi book is and this one, the other.
Waraka.
No, that one, it was taken by, because Zubaydi said he will give me a replacement.
Oh,
But
it's not in here?
but there is one maybe inside there is one copy
Anyway, I will get it from them, okay?
from inside.
Okay, I will get one from Subaidi. And what else?
And there is also one or two other books by the Tagore, the one with
Tagore
Tagore,
Award,
and the one with the birds.
Okay.
See this one
The one with the Tagore and also...
is compilation of what they have written about my different books, because I used to publish small books, maybe having 30 poems or something like that. And over the years since 1980, they have been writing about me, but in newspapers, in magazines, and so. This one?
Any book in English?
I will send you I was beginning to write my biography, autobiography, but I only wrote when I was at school, my childhood. I have not completed it, but I will send it to you so that you get a clear idea.
Yes.
See this book by a famous professor and very, very good poet. I think he's even better than my poetry because he's a professor of and the head of the Islamic.
No?
You have to take one because she has worked hard.
All vegetable, no meat. All vegetable.
That's okay, that
no
I
meat.
know.
Okay.
Maybe
Samosa and this is spring.
This one.
Okay.
At least
We
one.
are, we all are 100% vegetarian.
Excuse
क्या वेज
me.
है सब?
सब है
This
पूरा
is the
दोनों
all
वेज है
vegetable. Spring roll
One piece.
and also samosa.
So one samosa or one spring roll.
Okay. And do you
I
sell
would also like one piece.
one piece? Oh.
It would be a great injustice to myself if I do not accept this.
If some more is here, Baba, which one you
No,
want?
I don't want.
Ah, okay. Oh, okay.
You know, my stomach is now
Yeah.
have to be.
You
But
can
anyway,
put it
here, okay, this
here.
is the chili
Yeah.
sauce.
There
One
is-
more book for baby, ah?
Yeah, there is one also here. Next, show me this book important.
Which one? Tell me which one.
Put no on the left, left, more left, more. Yeah, that one. No, not this one.
Yellow?
No.
This one?
No, the next.
You tell me which one.
Go. Just two books left to the left. Two books to. No, not this. Two books to the left.
Big one, fat one, or thin one?
Can I please?
Go to the left a little. Left twice. Left. This is your left. This way, not that way. Yeah, I'm telling you left, and you go right. Yeah.
Okay. Quran.
No, next
And
one.
then this one is the.
Not this one.
And the
Not that. The one after it.
Okay,
This one.
Oh, okay. And one more book for Subaiti?
Yeah.
Subaiti?
These are the published books in they were going to make a film about me and the Indian people and write a book my autobiography. So I wrote the first part. This is also a book about my poetry. And this is before she could do anything. And she was she knew me. She invited me to the embassy, and I did something there. But then she vanished, and it stopped. But she was thinking of the same thing like you are doing.
Now it is online process. So it will be opened somehow after 1 or 2 months. Then I will collect your information from you, and many information today. Then I will apply for that, and I will recommend to some other friends to apply for that.
Yeah, you have to have more than some, maybe 4 or 3 or something like people to recommend you to get an award.
Yes, I will.
So you think we want
Because you have impressed me very much.
Thank you. You know, I received many awards from India.
Yes,
This year, if you look at this box,
I will
see many of them. Of course, Targofi's award.
I will take photographs of each.
Yeah.
And I want your detailed biodata, so that can be uploaded on that website.
See, I think some of these awards were the Tagore Peace Award is because his name is
Yes,
so big is known. The other awards I got because the Gala Award I got the awarded with the Kamala Soria. You know Kamala Soria was
You told us.
she was going to be given the Nobel Prize, but she never was given. The 2 other ladies who were with her got the prize, and I know her. I met her in Cambridge in one seminar together, and the other one got the French highest literary award. And she should have received, but I translated her works, her books, and things like that. You know, because you attended the New Delhi lecture. And we were awarded together. That time she was awarded and I was awarded, and then I got many other awards. I will show you the most important ones. And some I awarded in Dubai, and some in Oman, and some in Kerala, 2 or 3 in Kerala, and 1 in Chennai. She told.
So now I have decided. वही मतलब कि हमने डिसाइड किया है कि आपके लिए हम रिकमेंड करेंगे और पद्म अवार्ड विदेश के लोगों को भी देते हैं वो.
Okay. So he's saying in India there is a lot of award from the government side.
Yes.
So the most prestigious award are Padma Award. The Padma 3 of Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, and Bharat Ratna. They are the 4.
What is it grade 1, grade 2, grade 3?
Okay. So what Padma Shri is of course very high ranking. So he's saying that he would like to recommend your name
I don't deserve it, but
No, no. You, all right, deserve